Welcome, everybody, to Crown Council Live. Grateful to have you with us today. On the screen, Stuart is driving to Leadville, Colorado today.
Leadville?
Ride his bike up to the top of a volcano or something.
Leadville.
Rachel is with us. We're going to talk about the annual event in just a minute. And Steve, I do not recognize your office.
All right. So since this is Crown Council Live, I am always looking for great ideas. And so I am in Fort Worth, Texas today. And I am coming from the Starbucks at Montgomery Plaza. So this is an old warehouse they've turned into a shopping center. There's a Starbucks here. I love this idea. It can be done in any dental office. So you have the words of encouragement, little bucket here with the Sharpie pens and Post-it notes. And anybody can come in and write words of encouragement that they put up on the window. And this thing goes down for several panes all the way down the wall. And it's really cool stuff. I mean, everything from let's see, there's one. Oh, this one that I just pulled off. Wake up early and get your tasks done.
Where's John Acuff when you need him?
Exactly. We have a little Nike action. Just do it. There's some choice ones here that I will not.
You will not read. Okay.
Yes. But all kinds of stuff that's really cool. So no reason you couldn't do this in a dental office. Engage your patients in putting words of encouragement up on a wall or your window or whatever. It's just a fun way to get people engaged and let's see. Be you. There you go. So
come on, Olivia, show your face.
All right. So Liv's hanging with me today. Say hi, Liv.
Hey.
Daughter.
Oh, look
Olivia
at that wall.
Here.
That is awesome.
Oh yeah, it goes all the way down. I mean, it's awesome. So great way to get people engaged. So love the idea.
Terrific.
Words of encouragement.
Rachel is on this morning to make an announcement.
What's up, Rach?
The speaker she just contracted for the annual event. The 28th annual event is going to be in Salt Lake City the last weekend of January of next year at my favorite hotel of all the hotels that we ever go to, the Grand America.
It's amazing.
It has bathrooms on the main floor you could hold a meeting in. It is a classy place, and we've ordered up great winter weather with clear skies, and should be. Why are you laughing, Rachel?
We can't control the weather.
Fun backstory on that one, Greg. You remember? I'm just trying to remember the Sinclair Oil guy who built the Grand America.
Yeah.
Do you remember his name?
I'll remember it in a minute, but I can see his face.
But anyway, it was his. So the Grand America Hotel was his gift to Salt Lake City in order for Salt Lake City to get the Winter Olympic Games in 2002. And so he actually attended. He came to the annual event. You remember when he came that very first year, we had it in 2002. And one of the things that he said that I'll never forget was he said that he did the math, and that if he lived to be 1,000 years old, he would never get his money out of that hotel. They spent so much money building that. I mean, it's all granite exterior, marble floors, hardwood interior. I mean, the place is amazing. And to have it in Salt Lake City, it's an amazing experience just to be in that hotel.
We were the first convention event group
meeting,
that happened in the hotel ever, the very first one. And I remember him standing at the door, being sure that our carts didn't nick his paint.
Yeah, that probably didn't last very long.
I don't know.
Anyway,
boy, it sure is still beautiful.
It's gonna be a great event. So, Rach, who'd you book this week?
Well, I heard her on a podcast called The Happiness Lab, and immediately was drawn to her and knew that her subject was what we needed at the annual event. Her name is Catherine Price, and she's written lots of books, but her latest 2 books are How to Break Up with Your Phone and The Power of Fun.
How to break up with your phone.
So she is a science journalist, and she's mostly going to be focusing on the power of fun, which I think is great because, you know, right now in the world, there's so much stress and so many hard things. I think it's a subject that we all need right now. She talks about fake fun, which is watching hours and hours of Netflix or scrolling on your phone.
Wait, that's not fun?
And then she defines what true fun is, and that it's not selfish or childish or indulgent, that it's something that we need to bring joy and excitement and fulfillment.
Cool.
So yeah, she's going to teach us how to control our technology and how to increase happiness and health and well-being. She'll basically teach us how to scroll less, live more, and have fun.
Scroll less and live more. I love that.
Yep.
So as always, there will be plenty of application to the practice as well as to the person. That's always what we love to do at the annual event, is apply it to all different areas of life. So that sounds awesome.
Yes.
Can't wait.
I'm excited. She's going to be great.
Good deal.
Rachel has some other very hidden things that are on the plans for the annual event.
The surprise list.
Surprise list. If you 2 things you ought to be doing is you ought to be signing up, and if you are signed up, you ought to be sure that you're getting your hotel room reserved at the Grand America. So, anything else, Rachel? Earl Holding is the man.
There you go.
Earl Holding is the man who built the hotel.
Yeah. Iconic. And in fact, one interesting connection there, because I know some people are coming in early to go skiing and the whole. I believe that his company bought, is it Snow Basin that they bought? Because when I was up at Snow Basin, it was decked out just like the Grand America. It had all the same, the lodge was the same granite, the same marble, the same interior, the whole deal. It was up there in the mountains. It was amazing.
Well, when money is no object. That was great. Hey, well, thank you, Rachel. Anything else you want to say about the annual event before we let you go?
Got to come, right? Got to come to the annual event.
Yep, it's going to be awesome. We have some great things planned. Awesome.
Thanks for joining us, Rachel.
Thanks, Rach.
See you soon.
Okay. One of the things that has happened in the last couple of weeks, Steve, is we've closed out the 2002 Smiles for Life campaign.
It is. We went over the finish line, turned the page, and the 2023 campaign is in the making.
Actually, we had the first planning meeting for next year this week. And we're meeting with Ultradent next week. So awesome. We went over the $1.5 million mark this week.
Nice. Congratulations to everybody who donated. That's awesome.
It's great as we see those coming in, but we had a great conversation this last week with Dr. Blake Cameron, who doubled his Crown Council contributions this year.
Nice.
And we thought it would be interesting for everybody to kind of see what it was that he personally did to make that happen. So we recorded that. I'm going to share my screen now, and we are going to play a little bit of that conversation that Stu and I had with him.
Love it.
All right. Joining us, Dr. Blake Cameron. Welcome, Blake.
Thanks.
He's joining us from beautiful Logan, Utah. Greg Anderson also joining me Greg.
Morning.
Hey, show us
Afternoon.
the emblem on your shirt, just for document purposes.
See, there we go.
No, other side. No, no. There it is. Kapalua, everyone. Just in case you were wondering what that neon shirt is from, beautiful Kapalua, Hawaii. Wonderful. Great to
And
sell
I
some.
did not earn this shirt. Someone who went there and golfed
Yes.
there may have brought me this
True.
shirt.
That is true. What a great
Well, I
person
think
that
you
was.
still earned that then.
Yeah,
I guess I earned it. I
exactly.
probably paid for the airline tickets or something. I probably got.
That's funny.
Well, we have had some great outings at Kapalua.
Blake, I finished up Young Dentist program last weekend, kind of your stomping grounds there. Any fond memories of Young Dentist program that you would share?
You know, I met a couple other dentists there that I've stayed in touch with off and on over the last, gosh, what's it been, 4 or 5 years?
Yeah.
And that's actually part of how I got introduced to Crown Council from another local dentist who had gone through that and said, hey, you're coming up on 5 years out of school. You should jump in.
Who was it? Who asked
That
you
was-
to do it?
That was Celeste Mortensen.
Oh, nice. Very cool.
So yeah.
Yeah, good group, big group. I hope we can repeat that many new young docs. But David said it best when we finished. He was like, if anyone doubted if dentistry was in trouble, he's like, you just got to look at this group and know that they're not. It was a great, as usual, an incredible group to be with. So,
Yeah, it's awesome.
hey, so we were digging into your numbers here. And so Smiles for Life started in your practice in 2017. And then you did about $2,000, and then 2021. So last year you guys did $6,000, and then this year you're almost to 12, so doubled. And so I thought it'd be fun to have you on to talk about what you're doing different, what you're doing in general, advice you'd give to other practices or team members that are doing Smiles for Life for the first time or want to be successful. So is that a good plan?
Yeah.
Do you want
Yeah,
to start? Go ahead. Do you want to start? Maybe start with your practice, where it is, what it's like, just real quick.
Sure. So we're up in Cache Valley, north end of Utah. We've got 3 doctors with us now. That's part of what's helped with the growth. We brought a 3rd doctor on. It's been 2 years ago now this month. So that has obviously increased the volume of patients coming through our office, which lends itself to improving Smiles for Life as well. Word of mouth has gotten, I would say the last 2 years has gotten a lot better. We will get a couple dozen patients that come in just for whitening during the campaign. So that's certainly helped. Just the trajectory of the practice has helped that go up. And then this year we made the decision, since we had quite a number of patients last year that asked if they could use their HSA. And since you can't with Smiles for Life, we decided part of our contribution will be having them pay the practice with their HSA, and then we turned around at the end of the campaign and ran my credit card for the balance of what we'd collected through HSA payments. And that alone, I think, was a $4,000 chunk of people that wanted to use their HSA for whitening.
Very
So
cool.
it was a nice ad. That was one of our business team members' ideas, saying, hey, we get lots of questions about this, and it's always a bummer when we say, oh, well, it's a charity, so you can't, it's not classified that way, so you can't. And we said, well, hey, it's a small amount of fees, and then we get some things back on the credit card when we run it. So it was pretty close to a wash for us, but a great way to increase the number of people that can use it.
Yeah. Yeah. It's interesting too. And Greg, correct me if I'm wrong. You're the expert here. Everyone's always asking for a charitable contribution receipt for donating to Smiles for Life, but it is in fact illegal to receive a charitable IRS receipt for a donation of something that you received goods or services for. Did I explain that correctly, Greg?
Well, yeah, the IRS rule is that if you received something in return for your donation, then
Not a
you
real
can only
donation.
declare as a contribution the amount that is over the true value of what you received. And the reason we don't give tax advice is that
Can't wait for this.
I'm carefully wording this. The value of teeth whitening is different in every office. So if I'm in Boston, or if I'm in New York, or if I'm in Los Angeles, or I'm in Logan, Utah, there might be a guy right next door to Blake's office that gives away whitening for free if you're a new patient. And so it could be argued that the dollar value of whitening is zero, and the contribution is what you made. There also could be a guy next door that's charging $500 for whitening, and we're offering it a discount at $199. So we always say, go talk to your tax advisor. We're really good at whitening teeth. We're really good at charity work. We're not real good at tax advice.
Okay, smart. Nice.
But it is, but a tax deductible contribution is different than a charitable contribution. People are giving it because they want to do good in Blake's case for the family place, which is their charity of choice. And hopefully people feel like they're doing good, even if it may not be deductible for them.
Very good. Great answer.
Too long, but
yeah, no, it was very
you
good.
got the whole thing.
Hey, Blake, maybe talk about why, like, this is a great, just explain why you do Smiles for Life. Why have you made it part of your practice?
You know, we have always looked for ways to do good in the community. And this is a really easy way, a fun way. We've got, for most people, whitening is not an emergency. So they're thinking about it, they'd like to do it. And so it's easy to talk to patients throughout the year saying, hey, you know, every year we're going to do our charity drive. All the proceeds go to the family, you know, to the family place and Smiles for Life. So it's one of those things where people feel, I know we have some people that feel almost guilty about doing something for themselves, right? And they want to whiten their teeth, but they feel a little guilty about it. And when you add on the layer of doing some good, it makes it really easy for them. And it's fun for us because we see a lot of people coming through that have wanted to do it. It's that last little nudge in the direction of going ahead and getting it done. And on the flip side, they're also great patients as a result. We have a handful that come that aren't patients of ours that get whitened during Smiles for Life, but the majority are great patients that appreciate it. They keep whitening over the years, and it's just a fun element. Whitening for me has never been a money generating service. It's been more of a kind of a gateway to the rest of dentistry.
Nice.
And to long-term relationships. And Smiles for Life just makes that really easy to do.
Nice.
I
Whitening-
believe
And it gets all the team on board.
I believe it was Steve who said that is making the decision with emotion and justifying it with logic.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
That you know, I'm going to do this because it's for charity.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's just
Yeah.
that last little thing. Oh, well, I'm also doing good, so
Why not?
why not?
Why not? Whitening,
Yeah.
dentistry's gateway
Yeah.
drug.
I like that. I have actually
Very
written
cool.
that down.
Blake, we often talk about one of the biggest pieces of advice that we share is having a team member run Smiles for Life or make sure that it's taken care of smoothly. Do you do that in your practice? Do you have like a team member that runs it?
Yeah, so what we've done is we've broken up some of our year in segments where Smiles for Life this year was run by our dental assisting team. And our team lead was the one that spearheaded that. And she assigned one person that was going to be in charge of making sure all the trays were made and all that. So then we have our business teams in charge of our annual patient appreciation event, and our hygiene teams in charge of, they each kind of have one big project they spearhead. So each team owns something. And that's worked really well for us. Dental assistants do the lion's share of the work when it comes to whitening. So it made easy sense to have them in charge.
Nice. Okay. Very good.
So next year, if you make the admin guys in charge of whitening, is there like a contest? Have they got to do 12 grand or it's?
That's a good idea.
I think they'd have to do all the impressions. That would be the contest.
That would
How many
be-
times do you have to redo them?
That would not be good.
Although I do have two that I'm sure would make sure we do just over 12. If that
No.
were the
Overachievers.
Yeah.
Before we started, you talked a little bit about your local charity. Maybe explain how you picked your local charity and your connection, how that's helped your Smiles for Life whitening.
So the Family Place is a local nonprofit here in Cache Valley that's, I don't know if they would like how I phrase it, but it's kind of a catch-all for families in need. Whether it's the parents that there's an emergency and they don't have family and they need somewhere to take their kids. They've got staff on call to babysit. They've got mental health services there. We got introduced to them. I think it was one of my team members that introduced me to them about 6 years ago, as we were looking for a place to help with Supper Santa in the winter months. So that was, we sponsored 6 families or something and did our quarterly retreat activity, doing shopping and then wrapping the gifts at the Family Place. And that started some conversations. We have a handful of patients that work there now that come see us. And it's been a great relationship that Smiles for Life's been an awesome tool to help sponsor the good they do.
I love that word that relationship. Some practices could use that reminder that that partner, that charity partner can be a real partner if the relationship is developed properly with time and with care and doing it together, rather than just being the charity that you hand a check to and then they're like, who were those guys? I don't remember who they are.
Yeah, it's been really cool over the last, especially 3 years. Some of honestly, the patients we've gained because of what we've done with the Family Place, the inherent trust that just starts right from the get-go, because they know that we're a dental office like the 50 other offices here in the Valley. We also love to do good and participate in awesome things. So
dang, that's cool advice. Great.
it's fun.
Very good. We are putting you, imagine you're talking to Blake Cameron and he's starting Smiles for Life for his very first year in 2023. What advice would you give to that new first year practice?
I would say involve your team. Find a local nonprofit or charity that you can partner with. That's going to be the key. And getting the team involved in it, I think, really helps, because then they buy into it right away. Explain really well what it's all about, and put someone in charge. Have a goal sheet. Make sure we do weekly meetings as well as our morning opportunity meetings, and reviewing the progress as you go along so that everyone stays excited about it. I mean, set a goal, try to be reasonable, but set a goal and then push for it. Spread the word. It'll grow every year you do it if your practice is healthy and your practice is growing.
Nice. Hey, I'm looking at your annual event attendance confirmations. In the 23rd annual event, 6 people. 24th annual event, 8. Then 25th, 7. 14, 19, 20 people for the 20. Tell us a bit about, maybe I just want to switch gears for one sec. How does Smiles for Life play into you guys attending the annual event?
It didn't before, but this year we definitely have a few that want to be there, because one in particular who's going to be retiring.
Okay.
Wants to be there. She feels a lot of ownership for what we've done, and she's going to retire after January is over because she wants to come to the annual event.
Cool.
So, yeah.
Is there any other reason that you just as a spot for the annual event that you guys attend? Why is it part of your yearly CE?
So when we started coming first, I think it's a great way to bring some team members. You guys do a great job at creating an experience that's both fun and motivational, and helps with, get some conversation started that really is about not just the office, but the individuals, the members of the team. And I love motivational stuff. If I could recreate it, I would, but I can't. I mean, I've looked at what I have this conversation with my partner. Well, if we didn't, what else would we do? How could we create that experience? And I just don't think we can. So last year was the first year we brought our entire team. That was a reward for some goals that we crushed the year before.
Cool.
and talked about, hey, we think we can do it again. And so we went ahead and signed everyone up again.
Nice.
Obviously, this next one's going to be the easiest for us because Salt Lake's
Yep.
less than a 2-hour drive for us. But
Yep.
it's a lot of fun, and our team members appreciate it.
Fun. Very cool. Gregor, any questions for Blake about Smiles for Life?
No, that's all I can think of. I'm interested in one of the things that you said about your team member retiring. And it reminds me that at the annual event, one of the things we really like to do is recognize team members who have demonstrated real value in the practice. So I hope you'll nominate her for something.
I will definitely nominate her because she would love that. And she's been with us for 15 years longer than I've been with the office.
Hmm.
Yeah.
She was there when I bought it, and she's been amazing.
Nice. That
Terrific.
would be really fun. I mean, such a fun place to recognize everybody at the annual event. At least we try our best to recognize as many as possible. So
Oh,
very cool.
absolutely.
Any big plans for next year? You guys going to go for 30 grand or 40? I mean, you guys already looking to 2023 or?
You know, we're focused right now on our patient appreciation event coming up in a few weeks and a humanitarian trip we've got right before that. So I haven't
Nice.
turned my attention there yet, but we will.
Wait, bouncy houses? What are you going to have? Petting zoo? What are you guys doing?
Yeah, fair type games, and we've looked at bounce houses or the fair swings or something like that. We're in a parking lot of a dying mall. So I say we have the biggest dental parking lot in the world because there's no anchor store in the mall anymore. It's us and almost no one else. So we've got a huge parking lot. We're going to use it.
Fun. And are you going on a humanitarian trip to, where are you guys going?
We're heading to Ecuador. It's with Choice. My parents happen to be in Ecuador right now serving a mission for our church.
Got it.
So
Sweet.
my dad's going to join us for the week, and my mom's going to come up a day or two, and
No way.
got 12 of us going. So it should be awesome.
What a great
We
time.
love the people at Choice.
Yeah, Choice.
They're awesome. My family's been involved with Choice since I was about 14. And
They're of course hosting us in Guatemala in October. And it's awesome.
yeah, they're a great organization. They've got great people.
Very cool.
So,
All righty, Blake. Appreciate your time. Appreciate your leadership. You are absolutely the next. I mean, you are like the next generation of Crown Council All-Stars. So appreciate everything that you do to lead and kind of guide the upcoming young docs. I mean, you're crushing right now. You guys are doing so good. It's fun to watch. So good job. Keep it up.
well, thanks for making something so fun to be a part of.
Okay. Gregor, anything else as we sign off?
No, I got something for him offline when we're done.
Okay. Very good. Thanks, Blake. Appreciate it.
Thanks, guys.
Hey, we're back.
It was good stuff.
He is a good guy. And really one of the practices that has, it's been fun to watch it grow as he's come through the young dentist program and got himself a partner and increased the size of his team. And he's just a great guy. Steve, we are waiting on Dr. David Miles, who is going to join us. He is not yet online. But maybe prior to his arriving, you could give him an introduction in his absence.
Yeah, so there's really some great history here and some great lessons to learn. And so I'll just give a little bit of the backstory. So Dr. David Miles from Aiken, South Carolina, which is one of the great horse racing capitals of the country. Most people think of that as Louisville, but anyway, small town in South Carolina. We met David many, many years ago. I think if he's not an original Crown Council member, he would have been very close to
Very
it.
close, yeah.
And a great dentist. He, I know, was a mentee of Dr. Pete Dawson was, I think, where he probably met us originally. Great clinician. And when he and his wife, Paula, originally came through one of our seminars and got engaged in everything that we do. And one of the things I admire most about David is his ability to attract and marry one of the most amazing women I think I have ever met. Paula Miles is just an amazing woman, and for years has run the Miss USA pageant for North Carolina, South Carolina, and for many years Louisiana, and has trained several generations of young women how to be great people. And so, love the two of them, and all their kids have been through Eagle U at some point or another. So we've met and been involved with all of them. And David built an amazing practice that he ran for his entire career and transitioned it very, very successfully to another dentist who eventually bought his practice, and has been very active over the last few years in moderating one of our Crown Council mastermind groups that has been hugely successful and just has just contributed in a lot of ways over the years. So great example of how to do it right in the profession, and right on the family front, right clinically. He's done a lot of things right.
He should be on in just a second. While we're waiting for him, would you just do a once over lightly for us on your last weekend on the insurance-free seminar? I was fascinated when we talked about this on Tuesday, and it might be a good idea to, we'd announced it, but I'd love for everybody to know how it came out.
Yeah, so we did a 2-day course workshop entitled "Should You Be Insurance Free?" And the entire purpose of the course was to walk through all of the different decisions that a practice needs to make in regards to their relationship with insurance. And so it's not about going insurance free as much as walking through the process and really making some mindful decisions about what do we want our relationship to be with insurance. And so the outcomes of that were as different as there were practices in the room. That's as we walked through the process and we looked at the market and what their patient mix was and the kind of dentistry they wanted to do. We look at numbers. We look at the vision, work on the vision of the practice, and the outcome was very different for everybody. Some decided they were dropping insurance completely, weren't going to do it anymore. There were others that decided they were going to drop a few. There were some others that they're going to keep the course and head in a slightly different marketing direction for a period of time before they make any changes. So it is an amazing experience. I walked away with a totally different perspective than I went in, which is I don't now, having experienced, I don't think there's any practice that would not benefit from attending, because what it does is it really helps crystallize what any practice's relationship is with insurance, knowing your numbers, having a strategy. One of the really interesting stories that came out of it, Dr. Michael Hoffman, who's been a Crown Council member forever out of St. Louis, and he was sharing just some experience he'd had with his local dental society and their board of directors. And there's been a lot of changes in Missouri recently with insurance. And he was amazed at how many of them had no clue what their numbers were, no clue really about what they were really doing as it has to do with insurance. And so it's a great course for any practice, whether you're in network, out of network, have some involvement, whatever your relationship is. We do verbal skills training, how you address patient concerns and questions about insurance, as well as your numbers in your practice. So We are the demand for this is huge. We're doing another one coming up in November
Good.
in Dallas Fort Worth, and all the information is at totalpatientservice.com, and we'll also have it on the Crown Council website.
Terrific. And as you finish,
Dr. Miles.
Hey,
famous Dr. David Miles.
yeah, famous for something. I don't know what it's for.
Good day, David. Before you jumped on, I gave you about a 5-minute introduction.
Oh,
So you have been well introduced and gave a little background, a little history. So thanks for joining us. And
You're welcome.
With as many years as we've known each other and as many amazing things as you've done, I thought maybe you could start out by just giving a quick recap of how you got into practice in South Carolina. Did you buy a practice? Did you start a practice? How did it all start?
okay. I was a PA in the military, in the Air Force, and my plan was to be a pilot. I wanted to be some kind of fighter pilot, jet, whatever. And I met my wife, Paula, when I was stationed at Myrtle Beach Air Force Base and decided that I just would rather stay where she was.
That was a good decision, David. That may have been the best decision you made in your life.
Yeah, that was in 1971. That's probably before a lot of people on this call were born, maybe. I don't know. but anyway, so then I decided I might go to medical school, and I took the MCAT, did well on it, and I was working with some guys there at the Air Force Base, the OBGYN, the pediatrician, and a dentist. And I had some unfortunate things happen to me when I was growing up. I had a malocclusion. My front teeth were sticking out, and my dad took me to this dental clinic in Florence, South Carolina, when I was about 15 or 16, and had my front teeth taken out and had a flipper partial made. So that's just the beginning of a dental interest. And so I went to this dentist at the Air Force Base, and because I'd been out surfing and the surfboard hit me in the mouth, knocked my flipper out in the water, and I had to go to the dental clinic. And when I went in, the dental clinic commander was the guy on call. So he chewed me out for about 10 minutes, told me he was going to teach me a lesson, and said, I'm going to make you wait a while before you even will get an opportunity to get new front teeth. And I was a young guy in the military. You can't get too many dates with no front teeth. So he assigned me to another guy, and the dentist that I was assigned to, I'll never forget his name, is Dennis. His name was Dennis Bordotti, and he was from Pennsylvania. But he was kind, took care of me, made me a cast partial, which I wore until I went to dental school. And so that's what got me. The two dentists, the dentist and the physician, convinced me that I would have prestige in the community, a decent income, and I wouldn't have to be on call all the time. And I knew what that was all about because I worked in OBGYN and the ER at that hospital. So I went to dental school. I was a non-traditional student there because I was older than some of my professors. And so, I tried to figure out where I wanted to go, and not having any money, I got a DHEC scholarship from South Carolina that required me to go to a small town for 5 years. And that's how I ended up in the Aiken area. I went to a small textile town, Graniteville, South Carolina, and there was a dentist there that was selling his practice and and his building. And so in 1980, the interest rates were 21%. Can you imagine starting your career at that? So
tough way to start.
yeah. So he financed the dentist that was selling the practice was selling. He financed it to start with, he would have had at least 25 dental assistant harassment lawsuits against him. I found out later.
In that era he did.
Oh yes, he was.
Oh, he probably would have been locked up today.
He would have been locked up today. Wow. There were photos in his desk that I don't want to even discuss. So anyway, he was unethical. Graduated from a well-respected dental school, Emory, but he told me, this is his introduction to the practice. He said, if you don't put almost all the cash that you collect in your pocket and not report it, you're crazy. So and Paula started working with me, and we're kind of ethical people, so we changed the way the practice was run. And in my first week, I found out that his hygienist was not licensed to practice hygiene. So I had to hire her. And I had he went away for a week when I started. So I started my first day. I had a full schedule. He had filled up my schedule. And my second patient had a grand mal seizure, and had to give her Valium. And my dental assistant freaked out, and she had never seen anything like that. I'd seen all of that in the military, and she freaked out, but we got through that. And then I numbed up a guy, and he started having chest pains. And I ended up having to call EMS, and they came to the office and brought a gurney through the waiting room that was full of people. And this was my first week in practice. So they take the patient back out through the waiting room. So when we went to get the next patient, there was nobody there. They all left.
Oh my God.
So that was my introduction to dentistry.
Wow. That's great. That's amazing.
2 months later, the textile mill in that small town had 6,000 employees, and they closed.
Oh, ouch.
So that was my beginning.
Dang.
So did I answer your question, or
that was a thorough answer? Okay. In the interest of time, next question is biggest clinical influences in your career. I was trying to remember, David, how we met, and I think it was through Pete Dawson, wasn't it? Isn't that how we originally met?
We actually met, trying to think of how we met. I was one of the first ones at Plan Marketing, when
Dental Boot Camp. Yep.
Dental Boot Camp. And oh gosh, what's the guy's name from Texas that had the product that his dad had invented that
Mac Lee. Yeah,
Mac Lee was there, retired. And Jolene. And so that's where we met. You were there. I guess you had just told Walter you weren't leaving until he took he took you on as a partner. And I think you were about 11 or 12 years old.
And then you're about right. Yeah, that's about right. Yeah.
So that's where it was. It was in Hunt, Texas.
Biggest clinical influences that after you got into practice.
Elmer Reed was my biggest influence, and it was within my first 6 months of being in practice. I started out working 5.5 days a week, and had a Medicaid practice. I had so many cancellations, no shows. And I went to hear him, and one of the first things that I learned from him was, if it's been done, it's probably possible. And so
good advice.
He said, you can do just as much in 4 days as you can do the rest if you work smart. So Omer's the beginning of, my dental education, really. And so he and I are still friends to this day. And Pete Dawson was a big influence. Pankey Institute, I went through all their courses, became what I wanted to be the best dentist I wanted to be recognized the best dentist in my area. And one of the consultants I got early on was Charlie Martin. I don't know if anybody's ever heard Charlie, but he said, nobody's going to care whether you're good or not. So you just need to work smart and make a lot of money. Well, that wasn't the kind of practice I wanted. So he went the other way. And then I went through Pankey, and they taught me how to, the most important thing to me is in a new patient exam is do a comprehensive exam and spend time with the patient, get to know the patient. The dentist I bought the practice from told me that my practice would not succeed, that I was spending too much time with my patients, talking to them. So, but it did succeed, and I did real well. Plan marketing and Crown Council was probably the biggest influence, but Pankey, LVI, Crown Council, dental boot camp, plan marketing, all of those things came together. And I think I met Kane Waters, Daryl Kane, at a one of the Crown Council or plan marketing meetings.
Yeah, may have.
That's right. And they were responsible for helping Paul and I get on a good financial, foundation.
Takes a great team.
Yeah.
You've been great the last few years of moderating one of our Crown Council mastermind groups. That was not the first time that you've been in a group setting like that. I know you benefited throughout your career from that type of environment, networking and working with other dentists. Maybe you could just characterize for everybody what that whole mastermind experience has been like for you, the benefits of it, and what you would recommend to other dentists who were continuing to build their practice in terms of who they surround themselves with.
Well, I was in a mastermind group, and I was just I cannot remember my group leader. It was early on, and for several years, if you said his name, I would know it. It was very valuable, but Steve Blank and Greg Craner and several of the guys, we were all in a mastermind group together. And what it helped us to do was we had somebody that we could talk to about most anything at any time. We could call. We held each other accountable and responsible for things and promises and commitments that we made, and that was a big plus as well. And I think the value of mastermind, it's really hard to get people to realize how valuable it is in those meetings. They are just as important as a patient appointment.
Yep.
So I think it should be done. It's hard to get most people to agree to do it during clinic time, during the day. I think it's the most valuable at that time because and it really is hard to get your team to be behind that, because I know the current mastermind group that I'm working with now, that's a tough thing for them, because they see it as money thrown away. The team does. And so they'll slip a patient in there, whether you like it or not. And that's the hardest.
You can't do it.
That's the hardest thing to do for me to do as a mastermind group leader and part of a group, was to realize how valuable the time was doing those meetings during the day. So I would highly recommend everybody to do that.
Yeah, good recommendation. It's a valuable process. You've engaged in it over the years, and we appreciate your bringing your wisdom to moderate a group over the last few years. Made a huge impact. Last question. You ready?
Yep.
You had to do it all over again. You're starting all over, coming out of the military and going into practice. What would you do differently? Anything you do differently now, looking back, going, man, we know all the things you did that worked. Anything you do differently?
Well, I would start early with a personal financial plan, and incorporate that in the practice. Kane Waters was so invaluable to me, and I didn't do it for 15 years after I started my practice. So we blew a lot of opportunities. We still, have done very, very well. But I would start out with someone like Kane Waters or some personal financial planner to help you decide what kind of practice, the financial side of it. And another thing, I would build a smaller office than I did. I know a lot of dentists have done really well with big practices and big group practices. And, that's the trend right now is big group practices. I just made a dermatological appointment today with, I thought, what was going to be a small practice with one dermatologist. And I found out that he just sold his practice to a 60 practice group. So I think you can do it both ways. Omar Reed is another one that taught me. He had a big practice with, I think, 8 or 10 doctors, and he sold it and started an individual practice with himself with 2 treatment rooms and 2 hygienists. And he netted the same thing in that practice as he did in his big group for himself. So those are 2 of the things. I would start out with, I did not start out with an office procedure manual. I know most of the practices with Crown Council, that's one of the first things. That's the thing I would do. I would have gotten an intraoral scanner to do my crown and bridge sooner. So not much I would change, but I would spend even more time with my patients on the new patient exam. So
that is such good advice. It's the relationship you're going to have with them for decades.
Yes.
So, David, thank you for all of your great example. You have done so many things right, and we appreciate everything that you have done and the involvement with your entire crew and Paula, and just a great example to all of us.
Thank you. And if anybody needs to call me, they're welcome to call me anytime.
You got it. Thank you, David.
All right. Have fun and enjoy. It. Thank you. You're welcome. Bye-bye.
Bye. Well, Steve, nice conversation today. Anything, any final words before we...
I have a lot of words I could share with you.
Some of them you can't say.
Yes. Let's see. Treat people the way you want to be treated. That's good. Words of encouragement. And how about this one? We'll end up with this one. Make today amazing.
Terrific.
So go create your wall of encouragement and let your patients engage. I love this idea.
Thank you, everybody. We will close off for the week. Have a good week. Thanks, Steve.
It's the money.